Welcome to the July 23rd, 2019 edition of the 21st Century Marketing Meetup. We hold these meetups once each month to explore digital marketing practices, tools, and strategies to help you build your brand through digital media. This month, we have a presentation by Adam Gordon, Storyteller-in-Chief for the Oya Group. Adam is presenting Digital Marketing, How You Win.
So here, and again, here's how you win. You win this game by gaming the game. Okay? Decide what a win is for you and aim to that. A win is not, I got 5,000 followers on Facebook last month, if none of those followers do you any good. Okay? So before you start doing any of this, make a plan, make a set of goals, look what you're trying to achieve. Just like any major project, you want to know what the endpoint is before you start. Okay, so I want 5 new leads next month through Facebook. If that's your goal, only start small, start with 1, and focus on it. Okay, because as small business people or independents, we don't have that much time to deal with this. And social media can be an incredible time suck, especially if you're just going off and doing it and you're not doing it towards a certain purpose. So a great goal, for instance, if you had 0 to start off with today, if you were just starting off on Facebook, would be, I want 1,000 followers by the end of next month. Okay? And then you can start sending out things and looking at what's getting responses from the audience that's seeing your stuff. And that will be able to, you'll be able to then create a sieve so that when you go and do marketing against that, you can see, oh, these kinds of people are coming to these kinds of posts. And then you'll know how to target that advertising. The great thing about Facebook is you can get really, really intensely targeted. You can get, down to a neighborhood somewhere if you really want to be. And that's great. And again, if you're doing it just to reach out to those people and you don't have something to happen, it lessens the impact a lot. So one of the things I see people making a mistake a lot in is they'll have a link in a Facebook post, and where does it go? It goes to their homepage. Their homepage isn't about that Facebook post. That homepage probably doesn't have a call to action on it that's related to what that Facebook post says. So one of the ways to win in social media is to remember that it's happening in a context. It's not a thing in and of itself. So there's somebody going online, seeing your ad, or your whatever, call to action, offer for whatever, clicking over to your whatever that is, and then having an experience there. Okay? If that isn't good, you just lost all of that goodwill that you've built up along this chain. So if you point somebody and it just goes to your homepage, and you have a plumbing store, but your particular post was about how iron pipes can rust and clog and how to deal with that, but they end up on your general homepage, they see nothing about iron rust and clogging valves, they don't know where they are, and they don't know what to do. So the thing to do is to think about what is the process that they're going to use to get to your spot. How are you going to deal with that, and then what happens after? That's an important part that a lot of people forget. You get left on a thank you page because you have no idea what to do. It's not a good experience. So one of the things you want to do when you start even investigating how you're going to use social media is look at how is that going to provide your people with the best experience? How are you going to drive them through the sales sieve or funnel or whatever you want to call it to reaching the end where they're going to be happy? So that is a really important piece that I see a lot of companies fail at. Set your goal, figure out what the metrics are to get to that goal, and measure those. That's what's important. If your goal is, I want $1,000 of income next month off of my writing, then you know that you've got to do a certain amount to deliver a certain amount of content to the various places that you publish so that you can get paid for it. And all of that action throws off a ton of data. So don't ignore it, because it's telling you what your customers are looking for. inside that data is a really powerful story. You've got to work to dig that out. This is where I see, again, a lot of people end up throwing their money away on social media because they're not measuring it. They're not looking at what is the ROI of this. If I'm doing social media for one of my clients, we know what every campaign is doing down to the dollar. Always. There's so much data. If you just put Google Analytics on your website these days, you can look at so much data, it can be completely overwhelming. You could look where people came from, how they found you. If you have certain kinds of accounts with Google, you can kind of get close to what they were searching for. You could look at how much time they spent on your site, what browser they were using. There's tons of stuff that you can look at, and all of it could be relevant at different times, but not all of it is always relevant. Mostly, if we're talking in a business-to-business sales type of environment, ultimately, yes, the idea is to drive people to a website to make some kind of transaction. That transaction might be signing up for a newsletter, okay? So I'm trading information for information. A lot, of course, what goes on social media has nothing to do with any of that at all. It's just noise. And that's what you're gonna have to realize, is that you're dealing in an environment where there's a ton of noise. So your message needs to stand out. And that's the other part that companies usually forget, is the messaging up front. And not just of your posts. I don't care about an individual post. What is the story your company is about? What is the story that you're telling? Nike is all about athletic performance and bringing that to the masses. Everything they do is focused on that. Even when it's not, it's focused on that. So, do you guys know who Jay Levinson is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stereo?
Almost nobody knows who Jay Levinson is.
Stereo company?
What's that?
Was that Stereo?
Jay Levinson is the guy who invented the Marlboro Man.
Oh.
Okay. And what he said, and this was back in the 80s when he was publishing, but the numbers, at least when I look at the numbers, and you social media folks, if you have different numbers, please let me know.
Okay.
And what he said is, in any campaign, you need to physically touch somebody, in this case on a screen or whatever, 9 times in order for them to do anything for you. Fill out a form, respond to a letter, click on a link, anything. And they'll see about 1/3 of what you send out. So the math is pretty easy. 27 pushes to get 9 touches to get somebody to do something. Easy. Unless half of your messages are saying something different. Suddenly those don't count. Now you have to do 31 in order to get that same 9 touches. So
Yeah, but don't 27, 31 of the same message get a little redundant and
nobody says
somewhat irritating for the...
nobody says that you have to build the same sandcastle in the sandbox every time. You can build all sorts of different sandcastles in that sandbox. Within the boundaries of the messaging that you want to promote, what are the ways, what are the interesting ways, what are the fun ways, serious, depending on what you're promoting, what is the best way to promote it? And if you stick to this, the variations you see in this will be damped out a little bit. Because people will know when they get your first touch, they'll recognize it immediately because it'll be on brand. It'll be on message. Oh yeah, these are these guys. And even if they don't read it, you still get points for the impression. So having yourself be recognizable, and here I'm talking mostly about messaging, but the look and feel, absolutely an important part of it. If you want to drive people to you for any kind of reason whatsoever, for business, for funding, for anything, to drive people to you, okay, over the long run, you're going to need to be able to put this out there in a way that it kind of short circuits everything.
Question
Yeah.
then. If you are doing some crowdfunding,
Next.
if you are doing some crowdfunding or hoping to, that's going to be short term. That's going to be maybe 30 days. So it's not so much a long term strategy where. So
No.
how do you pack in 30 messages into a very short period, or
No.
do you?
You don't. So if you're giving yourself 30 days, okay,
Not necessarily giving myself, but
okay, well, whatever time frame.
sure.
Okay, what are the top 5 messages? Okay, there's one of the things I do with my clients a lot is we build what I call a messaging architecture. You can't, if I took the story of Little Red Riding Hood and took all of the pages out of the book and tore them up and threw them in the room, threw them out into the room and said, read the story, you would kind of have a problem with that. That would be hard to do.
Right.
Same with your messages from your company. What's the most important one? It's page 1. That's where that goes. So if you want to just suddenly throw all of this stuff out there, we have a term for that in marketing. It's called show up and throw up. And if that's what you want to do, you find what sticks to the wall, and that's fine. And people evolved over millions of years to get information from narratives, not from bullet points. Nobody will remember your bullet points next week, but they'll remember the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, so if you want to present information, the best way to do it is in the context of something that has a beginning, middle, and end, that has the structure of a story, because that's going to involve people and have them remember things much better. And that's where this comes in. The messaging comes in. What is the messaging? What is the core thing that you need your customers to know?
Thank you for listening. This concludes Digital Marketing, How You Win. We invite you to also listen to our one-on-one interview with Gordon on digital marketing. And don't miss our July tip of the month on timing your posts for peak engagement. The 21st Century Marketing Meetups are a project of Ascend Business Design and Development. These meetups feature presentations by digital marketing experts and our tip of the month. Our mission at Ascend is to help companies grow profitably. Do you have a question or a digital marketing need? Reach out to us at Ascend. We're here to help your business grow.